All right, hello and welcome to project number 5 of online YTiCode with Youth Tech Inc. So by now you should have already finished projects 1 through 4, so that would be your Dance and House, So Long Homework, Blockcraft, and your Red Racer. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and move on. For this today's project number 5, we're going to go ahead and click on New App. And instead of doing an online activity, we're going to work on building some numbered apps. So to start off, Bitsbox is super fun that it has some hidden Easter eggs for you to find. So there's a couple numbers that if you type them in, they will give you a super cool app. And one of those numbers is 5555. And when you type that in, it takes you to this app right here. So this is called Bippity Boppity Boot Solution. And what it is you click over here, you wave your wand around, and it turns the pumpkin in the bottom right of the screen into a boot with a cat in it. And so that's the program, and we can hit the play button to reset it here. And so let's kind of talk about some of the programming here. This one is nice because the programming is already prearranged for you, so you won't have to type anything out. But definitely, I'm encouraging you to try changing some things. So maybe instead of being set in front of a castle, we're set somewhere else. So those are lots of things to look into. But we'll go ahead and start explaining the program here. So line number 1, we're assigning our fill. That's our background. Fill is a word for background, so that's pretty basic. Lines 2 and 3, we are setting variables. Now, if you remember from our last video, we know that we're setting videos because there's an equal sign here. So that's how we know that we have a variable at work here. So the item variable it's the pumpkin 2 stamp, and it's at this position, 600 by 800. So if I put my cursor over here, you'll notice that at the coordinates along the top, 600 and 800, that's about where the pumpkin is. So those are the coordinates for it. And then the number 200, the third number there, is the size of the pumpkin. And then for line 3, we have wand, and that's another variable, and that's just being set equal to the stamp of the wand. And then at line 5, we begin our first function, which is for our drag. And so that's this part where we just are dragging our wand around. And so we're using the drag function, and then of course inside our parameters we're actually writing what the function does. So it makes the wand move to wherever the cursor is. That's why there's that X and Y there, because again that denotes to make your wand go to wherever your cursor is on your screen. And then number 2, it's got another variable, so it's setting the word trail equal to our stamp flare, which if you look at the wand as it's moving here, the light that's coming off of the wand, that's the flare stamp. And it's inserting those stamps at the, again, relative position at the size 200. And then the size, you can see where it says trail.size 0, it's saying eventually become 0 size, meaning it disappears. So again, if we look at our wand here, it starts off big and then the circles fade into the distance, and it's saying fade in 1000 milliseconds. So insert your flare and behind the wand, and then disappear into the background. So that's function number 1. And then function number 2 is for when we untouch, meaning for when I release. So right now I'm pressing and clicking on my cursor right now, but if I were to let go, all of a sudden that's when the pumpkin turns into a cat in a boot. So that's the second function that's at work here. And so it plays the sound, and you can change that sound to whatever you want to make it. And then it's saying change the item, which again, the item is the variable here, so it's basically just saying change the stamp to boot 2 from the pumpkin. change the item size, make the item rotate, and make the item move. And so the first number here for the size is the new size. The first number here for the rotation is how much to rotate it. So 360 degrees is one full rotation. And then the move is the new, these are the new coordinates that they want the stamp to go to. And then you'll notice at the 1000 and at the end of each of these lines, that's the time that it's supposed to happen in. So altogether, that makes up your Bippity Boppity Boot solution. And so what you can do is you can play around with the different assets here, change some things out. If you go up to your right-hand corner here and you click on these two squares that are on top of one another, it takes you to this library where you can see all of the stamps, all of the fills, the colors, the sounds, etc. that you have to work with. So even with like commands, for example, if we go there, we'll give it a second to load here. If we go to commands, it should pop up. Here we go. So if we're looking at commands here, these are all of the programming interfaces that you can work with. So you can add sounds, song, silence. With our functions, remember we had a drag function, we had an untouch function, but you can also have touching, touch, tap, send, get. So this is kind of your master list of what you can use to customize Bippity Boppity Boot solution and make it your own. So definitely, have fun with that, enjoy that a lot. And if you go home whenever you're ready to, and you go back to new app, there's a couple more Easter eggs out there that you can try and find. I'll give you one more of those. Is 1111, and these are the creators of Bitsbox here. And again, there's some more programming here, and you can definitely work to digest this at your own speed. This is a little bit more advanced. It has some math to it here. It's got, as we can recognize, variables. It has functions. But it's also got some operators here, as we can see with some of the ways that the heads are moving, the size of the heads, random too, moving at random, not in a noticeable pattern. So between all of those, that's definitely some options to have fun with. So feel free to try and take a look around Bitsbox, see what other hidden apps you can dig up, and make sure too that you're changing things up, trying to wrap your mind around some of the programming aspects. Definitely try your own hand at writing a couple of lines, just making some simple changes, and becoming more comfortable with it. And then when you are ready to move on, we will see you in the next folder for the numbered apps projects. So we'll see you there.